review the book, a kid's book about racism. It is by Jelani Memory. And the book is actually for a kid. There's like no pictures, just very short words in there. One word. And short sentences, big words. And it is basically understanding, I guess, starting a conversation, I should say, about racism with your child. So the book is obviously directed towards children, and it is about Jelani. In the beginning, it's about him. It says, because my dad is black and my mom is white. Turn the page. Which makes me mix. And then when he wrote that, I was like, you might want to expand on that. And then he did. He says, or African American, biracial, black, or a person of color. So he expanded on it. On the back, it says for ages 6 and up. And it discusses hate, bravery, sadness, racism. These books there's a series, and he wrote about racism. There's other books about depression. What else did I see? About belonging as well by other authors. And this book is pretty good. I think it definitely should be on someone's shelf with their kids. And the funniest part is this page. To me, it's the funniest part is this page. It says, my skin color looks like this. It's brown and then has a black period. And then at the bottom it says, if you're colorblind, this is the color brown. So it's funny because when I first read it, I was thinking, oh, all the people who say that they're colorblind to race, they're like, oh, I don't see color. But that was for people who are actually colorblind. They can't see the color brown, black, or whatever. I was like, oh, okay. So, got me there. I'm actually going to read the intro because the intro is pretty cool. And it's very simple, so it can be for a child. It says, we grown-ups try to teach kids as much as possible as they grow up. Things like how to say your ABCs, ride a bike, and when to say please and thank you. And even bigger things like how to date, when to quit something, and how to forgive. But there are a handful of important topics we often never get around to talking about. Things that are simply too hard to just bring up. Facts. Racism is one of those topics. And yet, what age is too early for kids to learn about racism? When is too soon for kids to learn about how to treat those who look different? Who is supposed to help kids learn about racism? This is a book designed to help get the conversation started, to help grown-ups and kids alike wade into a really tough topic and hopefully spark the first of many conversations to come about racism. Enjoy. So, it does a good job to start the conversation. And I think that if you were to read this to your child, or anybody's child for that matter, it would be important to do your research first to make sure what the information you're providing is factual versus opinions. If you were to give opinions, of course, say, this is my opinion, this is my experience. Preference it, of course, by saying it that way. Because there are a lot of facts about racism that are actually not facts. So, yeah. But that's a whole other conversation. And then the outro says, now that you've made it to the end of the book, what comes next? Well, if you're a grown-up who read this to a kid, my hope is a lot. They should have a million questions for you, like, has anyone ever been racist to you? Or do some people not like me because of the color of my skin? Take their curiosity and make the most of it. I can promise you that you're more afraid than they are to talk about racism. So talk about your experience with racism. are that of your friends. Talk about our country's history and the civil rights movement. And above all, be honest. Kids are ready and willing to learn about tough times if only the grown-ups present in their lives are willing to talk about them. So he put start at age 6 to read this book for ages 6 or whatever. My first racial experience happened when I was living in Louisiana. I was living in Louisiana when I was ages 4 to 8. And my first racial experience happened around elementary school. I would say first grade, so 6 is pretty good age to start. It was either it was either first grade or second grade where I experienced a racial experience with my friend's mother, best friend's mother, and it was one of those things where she called me an N-word, and I didn't know what it meant, but how she said it, it was like, I don't think she liked me too much, but I don't know why, because I'm cool. So I didn't know what it meant, but I knew she didn't like me. And so I remember telling my parents, I don't think right afterwards, but I ended up telling them that and saying, like, I didn't know what the word meant. And of course now I do. And it's okay, because at the end of the day, me and her are still associates. We're not friends, obviously. It's been a long time. It's nice that there's a generation that is being created to not be as racist as the previous generation. And hopefully, throughout time, that it'll change for the better, obviously. And the only way that we will see productive change, effective change, and true understanding is simply by talking about it. If we don't talk about it and we just push it under a rug, it's like, oh, okay, racism doesn't exist. I'm black. Yes, it does. I have to fight harder than other people around me, and it may seem as though I'm just like this cruel person or this anal person, that I'm already serious and things like that. And it's one of those things where it's like, I have to be. I don't have the choice or the luxury or the privilege to just sit around and I'll get whatever I want. I'll get stuff handed to me. When my parents die, I'll get all this stuff. Or when I graduate from high school, I'll get a trust fund or some type of generational wealth, or heirloom of some sort, or we'll go on family trips to our family cottage or something. Certain things like that I don't have access to, and I won't. And it's not like I'm bitter about it, because I'm not. I really don't care. But it's the simple fact of I won't have that, but that doesn't mean that I can't create that on my own and have the next generation have that. So as a person that is of color, I don't particularly like that term, but African American, I don't have that privilege. I don't have that choice, but that's okay for me, because I know that I have the tenacity to keep going and doing what I need to do in order to get where I want to be, at least by the time that I die. If I were to die like when I'm old or something. Knock on wood, I don't have wood around me. Whatever. But hopefully by the time that I die, I'll have something to give the next generation. And so it is worth talking about racism, no matter what color you are, no matter where you are in this world, it is worth talking about, because racism is not something that's just something that happens with black people. It's something that happens across the world. It happens within groups of color. It happens all across the board with skin color, skin tone, as well as how the culture that comes with it. But that's a whole other conversation, whole other topic. And I just wanted to make this video short. So in conclusion, it's a pretty good book. You should go get it. I purchased it off of the website. I'll put the link in the description below. I ordered it off the website, and it was $19.95, and not including shipping. So it's $19.95. It's a hardcover book. And I love hardcover books. Maybe I'm a nerd, I don't know, but I like them. To me, they last longer. So, anywho, it's a pretty good book. If you have any people, friends, family members who have kids, and you think this is a topic that may come up in their life, this will be a good gift. As long as they're not, closed-minded.